gonna learn how to brew our own kombucha, which can save you a lot of money and is a lot of fun. So what is kombucha? We've all had it, right? It's a fermented tea that's rich in probiotics. The base ingredients are water, black or green tea, sugar, and a probiotic colony. But all of those ingredients don't really make kombucha. It's the fermentation that makes kombucha amazing. So kombucha is like really peaked in popularity in, the last 10 years, but it's been around for a really long time. The first recorded use of it is from China in 221 BC, and it was known as the tea of immortality. It's been used in Eastern Europe, Russia, and Japan for a really long time, centuries. And it gained the name kombucha in Japan when it was used by a doctor named Kombu to treat the emperor. And ocha is the word for tea in Japanese. It sort of disappeared during World War II and after World War II because of rationing of sugar and tea, so nobody could make it. And then it regained popularity in the 60s when a Swiss study proclaimed all its health benefits, probiotic benefits mostly, similar to yogurt. And then in the early 2000s, it really skyrocketed in popularity when a guy named Dave, GT Dave, used it when his mom had breast cancer, and her breast cancer was cured partially, he believes, because of the use of kombucha. So he started a company called GT's Kombucha, which is the most popular kombucha that we see on the shelves now. And that's sort of how it sort of started skyrocketing in the US. So what are its health benefits? It's really a rich source of probiotics like yogurt, and that helps keep your gut healthy. So your digestion is a lot better. It's rich in antioxidants, which if you don't know, antioxidants help your body get rid of free radicals, which are sort of, they're cell damaging compounds that come from environmental factors like smog and also from metabolizing food. Your body just naturally makes them. It kills bad bacteria like candida yeast, which can cause like toe fungus or toenail fungus, skin funguses, stuff like that. And it can help manage type 2 diabetes by slowing down the digestion of carbs, and that reduces blood sugar levels. And then it also lowers bad cholesterol and increases good cholesterol. So SCOBY, this is how kombucha is made. It's kind of an ugly little thing, but it makes a lot of good stuff. A SCOBY means symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeasts. And it's the home for all the bacteria and yeast that makes kombucha great. So you can buy a SCOBY multiple places online from $5 to $20. And I really recommend getting one from posymom.com. She always sends like really healthy, nice ones. Sometimes you'll get little tiny SCOBYs that don't produce the best kombucha. And then if you take care of your SCOBY, you'll never have to buy another one. This implies an ingredients that you're gonna need for making your own kombucha. You're gonna need 5 black tea bags. You can try other types just as long as there's no oil in it. So no Earl Grey tea. You need a half a cup of plain white sugar. You can't substitute on that. People think that half a cup of sugar is a lot, but this is what the SCOBY is eating. So it's gonna dissipate all the sugar. You're not gonna have a bunch of sugar in your finished kombucha. Half a gallon of distilled water, a half gallon or larger glass jar, no plastic, a large wooden spoon, no metal, 1 coffee filter or a thin breathable cloth, a large rubber band, a large pot, and this is really important for like San Francisco, colder climates. You're gonna need a seedling heat mat to keep your kombucha between like 68 and 78 degrees. Once it drops below that level, it'll stop fermenting. So it's definitely a necessity. So step 1 of making kombucha, you're gonna boil your water in a large pot. You're gonna add the tea bags and you're gonna steep it just like you would normal tea. So I usually steep mine for about 15 minutes. And then while the water is still hot, you're gonna add all your sugar and stir it thoroughly till it's dissolved. And then you're gonna cover the pot and allow it to completely cool to room temperature. And that generally takes a few hours. You definitely wanna make sure you're at room temperature before you proceed, or else you're gonna kill your SCOBY. Step 2, you're gonna add your SCOBY. So once the tea is cooled, you're going to pour it into your glass jar. And then you're going to add your SCOBY. Now your SCOBY should have arrived in some liquid like you see in the picture here. That liquid's really important. So you're going to open the package containing the SCOBY, and you're going to put the liquid and the SCOBY into the tea. And then you're going to stir it gently with a wooden spoon. Next, you're going to leave it alone. You're going to cover your jar with your coffee filter or your cloth just to keep out any nasty stuff. And then if you're in a colder climate, you're going to wrap your seedling mat around your kombucha jar to keep it warm. You're going to store your jar in a dark place away from anything that might have mold. So keep it away from books, fruit, bread, anything that might possibly get mold into your kombucha. And then you're going to leave your jar alone for 7 days. Don't touch it, don't look at it, don't do anything, don't move it around. You can really disturb the SCOBY and it will stop like fermenting if you disturb it at all. And then after 7 days, you're going to taste your tea. And if it's still too sweet for you, you're going to let it ferment for a few more days. I wouldn't go more than 15 days on the fermentation. And then once you're happy with the way your tea tastes, you can either drink it as it is or move on to secondary fermentation. So secondary fermentation is where your kombucha gets all its its carbonation and optionally the flavors that you might want to add to it. So in order to do this, you're going to remove your SCOBY from the tea and put it in a clean jar with about a cup of the kombucha that you just brewed. And this is how you're going to store your SCOBY until the next time you want to brew another batch. And then you're going to pour your kombucha into a clean jar with a lid and make sure there's a few inches of headspace at the top of that jar. And then if you want to flavor your tea, you can add fruit juice, herbs, pretty much anything that you can think of that would taste good in kombucha. You just want to make sure that it's about 10% juice and 90% kombucha. And I like lemon juice and ginger. It's my favorite. So then you're going to put the lid on your jar as tightly as possible. And the more airtight the jar is, the more carbonation you're going to have. And then you're going to sit it on the counter for 3 to 14 days. And you can taste it intermittently to see if you like how it's turning out. And once you do, you're done. You definitely want to make sure that you're burping your jar every day or it might explode, which is not good. So to burp it, you just loosen the lid a little bit until you hear it fizz. So some additional tips. It's definitely possible for your SCOBY to get mold. And if it does get mold, you're gonna have to toss it and start all over again. Some people have a hard time telling at first if they have mold on their SCOBY because SCOBYs can turn like interesting colors, but generally it'll be black or green and fuzzy and it looks like mold. But I would say maybe go online and take some looks at pictures of moldy SCOBYs just to make sure. And then eventually your SCOBY will create baby SCOBYs. So baby SCOBY is another layer on the SCOBY. And you can detach that from the mother, it's called a mother, and put it in another SCOBY hotel, which is where you store it. So you can make more than one brew at a time. You can give your friend a SCOBY and have a kombucha brewing party, or just, hold on to it in case you get a moldy SCOBY at some point. And then, like I said, when you're doing a secondary fermentation, you definitely want to make sure your containers are in good condition. Small cracks can cause explosions. And then burping your containers during secondary fermentation to prevent pressure buildup. These are all the tips that I have found out like the hard way. So that is it. Does anybody have any questions?
Are there any tips for cleaning out your containers when you're done with them?
Definitely you want to use very, very hot water. And then you want to store them away from anything like mold related. Essentially just making sure they're clean with really hot water. And you don't ever want to use any containers that you've pickled anything in the past. Definitely use a new container or one that's only used for kombucha.
How long do the SCOBY last in hotels?
They should last for years. After you've brewed many, many batches with a SCOBY, though, it will get old and get tired, and you'll have to move on to a young, new SCOBY. But in the hotels, they should be fine for long periods of time, just as long as you don't put them in the refrigerator. They need to stay at a warmer temperature.
Is it at all like use where someone has like good SCOBY?
Oh, definitely, yeah. So a good SCOBY is like a nice thick SCOBY. Like I said, if you get little small thin ones, they don't produce the best kombucha. So if you want to produce a better SCOBY, instead of taking the baby SCOBY off, it will also merge with the mother if you leave it. So you can grow a better, thicker SCOBY.
Does the kombucha you make at home get as carbonated as like the ones you buy?
Yeah, if you make sure that your container is really airtight during the secondary fermentation, it should get really carbonated. But you just definitely have to make sure it's super airtight.
And then another question about the sugar one. So I recently watched a YouTube video basically about, in particular, it was talking about healthy.
Right, yeah.
And I was just talking about how like kombucha has a bunch of benefits, but like the amount of sugar in it, like sort of.
Well, I think that a lot of the companies that are making kombucha are putting a lot of fruit juice in there during the secondary fermentation, and that might be what's leading to higher sugar content. I think that if you're just brewing kombucha on its own and not adding anything to it, it should have like 3 grams of sugar per serving.
Can you like deviate from that, like those measurements? Like if I wanted to make like a big batch of kombucha, I just like double everything?
Yeah, you can double everything. Your first batch that you make, I would definitely do like as it says to do it. But you have to definitely make sure that when you are, adding the SCOBY into your batch, that you're also using double the starter liquid, which is like the liquid that would come in that package. So you'd use 2 cups of the brew of kombucha instead of just 1. So yeah, basically just doubling the recipe. You can do that.
How much kombucha do you brew?
Me?
Yeah, in like a year.
I haven't been brewing a lot of kombucha lately because I don't have a kitchen. And I don't really have a space to keep it where it won't get moldy. But in the past, I've done maybe like a gallon every 2 weeks. Yeah.
It's quite a space in the office.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good idea. Okay.
But that's tried something. None of us have had an issue with it.
I'm gonna have to give it a shot.
What's your worst exploding? Is it from personal experience? That's it.
Yeah, no, it's from personal experience. But I mean, it basically the jar just exploded and shattered everywhere. Nobody got hurt or anything, but that would be really bad. It's just shrapnel flying everywhere.
So it like really explodes.
No, it explodes. Yeah. The SCOBY had to be thrown away because it ended up on the floor. Any other questions?
What's the most unique flavor that you made?
I haven't really made very many unique flavors. I sort of stick to the lemon, ginger, and I've done grape. And I've done like apple cider. So you can pretty much throw anything in there that you think would taste good.
Any other kind of liquid juice?
Yeah. Yeah. Or you could do like herbal like tinctures. People do that. I've never done it, but. And then if you do let it ferment for an extended period of time, it will turn into alcohol. So you can have more alcoholic kombucha if you are interested. They actually sell like some 14% alcohol kombucha.
I've tried it, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I do notice that a lot or some kombucha containers are dark.
Yes.
Does that make a difference?
Yeah, so sunlight really affects kombucha. You definitely want to keep it in a dark place. I think the dark containers are just to help keep light out of there. I think it damages it. I'm not sure how though, the sunlight.
I know also due to the alcoholic kombucha.
Yeah, the super dark brown ones. So if you doubled it up, you don't do like 2 SCOBYs, that'd be like insane.
No, you don't need to do 2 SCOBYs. But yeah. I don't think anything would happen. They might.
Merge.
They might merge.
Have you had SCOBY and pulled off
Oh yeah.
a child and started to use it?
Yeah. I mean, you'll probably, if you have a really healthy SCOBY, every batch you'll create a new SCOBY. Yeah. Yeah. So you're gonna end up with an abundance of SCOBYs. Give them away usually. I mean, when I first became aware of like brewing kombucha, it was sort of an underground thing. You had to go on Craigslist and find people that were giving away SCOBYs. You couldn't buy them online or anywhere. So it was just sort of this network of SCOBY parents.
If I saw on one of the pictures, one of them was marked like with, I guess, the kombucha that they had like the flavor in for the class. Is that something you should do, or like if I wanted to make like lemon ginger with one and then use the same one, like wait.
The same SCOBY?
Yeah.
Yeah, because before you add the flavor, you're taking the SCOBY out, and you're getting your liquid before you put any juice in it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it doesn't matter.
So the hotel liquid is like.
The hotel liquid is just pure kombucha. I know.
Thanks, Emma.
Right, thank you.